She lied. She crashed out. Again, Cardi B shouted out Remy Ma, Baby, and Claressa Shields' entire DM section went up in flames. Stick around because this one is a full meltdown from top to bottom. Welcome to Shella. You are watching Shella Elite. We don't spread rumors, baby. We read receipts. Quick disclaimer before we dive in, everything today is allegedly, reportedly based on what's already public. We are not confirming anybody's personal business, just breaking down what's already out there for the world to see. Here's the setup, baby. Cardi B had a whole show. Remy Ma pulled up looking incredible. And somewhere in the middle of all that love, Papoose decided to repost, then quietly delete a video from the show, that one little repost. Baby, it lit a match that turned into a full house fire in Claressa Shields' DMs. Let's start with what actually happened because it's beautiful. Cardi B sees Remy Ma at the show, pulls her in for a hug, and calls her real ass, real pretty. Tags her and everything, baby. That is what a real friendship looks like. Not a caption, not a performance, an actual hug, an actual shout out in real time. And here's the receipt that really matters. Remy doesn't even follow the random groupie accounts. She follows real people. That's not clout chasing, baby. That's just being genuinely liked. And that one authentic moment, that's exactly what lit the match under somebody else's chair. Because right on cue, Claressa Shields is back in her feelings, back in the DMs, back to crashing out like it's a full-time job. Baby, is this a daily occurrence now? Can we get one crash out a week? A monthly crash out even? Give the people a schedule. And let's be real with the facts here. There is no divorce. Not finalized, not settled, not decreed. Papoose is still married, which means, baby, however you want to dress it up, you are still the side piece. You can call it whatever you want on the internet. The paperwork calls it something else entirely. So a fan slides into her DMs with a screenshot, Papoose's repost from the Cardi B show, and jokes that maybe he was actually there with Remy. And instead of laughing it off like a confident woman would, Claressa comes out swinging. Pap was here. We're together right now. Combative, defensive, ready for war over a joke. Baby, if you're that secure in your relationship, why are you in a stranger's DMs arguing about it at all? Confidence doesn't need a rebuttal, but that fan wasn't finished. And the next reply is where she really lost the plot. The fan comes back sharper this time, basically calling her out for messing with a married man in the first place. Straight up, no sugar coating it. And baby, instead of staying composed, instead of just blocking and moving on like a normal person would, Claressa goes for the most explicit clapback possible, throwing out intimate details like it's supposed to be some kind of trophy she's holding up for a stranger on the internet. That is not a comeback, baby. That is oversharing to save face in front of people who don't even know her personally. Nobody asked for that level of detail. Nobody needed it. And it did not land the way she thought it would. If anything, it made the whole thing worse because here's what happens when you try to win an argument with intimacy instead of dignity. Everybody remembers the overshare, baby. Not the point you were trying to make. And then, right on schedule, here comes her favorite line of all time. It's called divorce, said with full confidence, said like it's a mic drop, except baby, it's really not. And the internet was more than ready to remind her of that. Let's talk about this so-called divorce because, baby, the internet has receipts for this too, and they are not being gentle about it. There's no decree, no court date on record, no parenting plan filed, even though there is a minor child involved in all of this. Just a filing sitting there collecting dust, going absolutely nowhere for who knows how long. Somebody in the comments put it perfectly. And baby, I have to give credit where it's due. They said that divorce is happening in the exact same imaginary courtroom as her imaginary case against 50 Cent. That line was surgical. That line ended careers. You can say the word divorce as many times as you want, baby. You can post it, caption it, argue about it in a stranger's DMs at midnight. Repetition does not make it legally true. A filing is not a decree. A filing is not even close to a decree. And here's the part that really stings if you think about it. If the divorce is really as done as she claims, why is there still no movement, no hearings, no paperwork progressing? Baby, silence on a court docket speaks louder than any caption ever could. And here's the thing that makes this even messier. Even her own family is starting to say the quiet part out loud now. Because word is her own cousin did an interview recently and basically floated the theory that Papoose and Remy might be pimping the whole Claressa situation for attention and relevance. Her own blood, baby, putting that theory out into the world. And here's what makes that theory land even harder. Papoose has never once, not one single time, publicly defended her. Not when the comments turned ugly, not when the internet piled on, nothing. He literally dropped a diss track during all of this and just let the internet drag her name through the mud without saying a word to protect her. Baby, if that's your man and he lets you get dragged like that in silence, that's not protection, that's participation. Somebody else pointed out that boxing itself is basically a pimping whole business model to begin with. Promoters and managers moving fighters around like pieces on a chessboard, everybody profiting except the fighter actually taking the hits. Make of that what you will, baby, but it's not exactly reassuring context. So when you put those two things together, the silence from him and the theory from her own family, it starts to paint a picture that even her biggest supporters are struggling to argue against. But baby, the comment section did not disappoint after all of this. People were not holding back. One comment said she's the slowest woman they've seen in a long time. Another called her a full-on head case. Somebody else pointed out, as a married woman herself, that a man does not sign divorce papers until he's actually ready to let go of that specific wife. Ride that one again until it clicks, baby. Public opinion has officially turned, and it is not turning back anytime soon. But baby, the religious hypocrisy part, that's where this gets really uncomfortable. Because this isn't the first time Claressa's gone explicit in public to prove a point. She did it on The Breakfast Club too, standing up there talking about bedroom specifics like it's supposed to prove something. Baby, that is a pattern. Every single time she feels threatened, instead of staying calm and confident, she goes straight for the most explicit angle available. And if you're out here claiming to be a woman of God, claiming to be about faith and grace, baby, none of this behavior lines up with that. Pick one. And let's be honest about what's actually driving all of this. The obsession. With Remy Ma, with 50 Cent, with everybody except her own career, baby, that is not normal behavior for someone who's supposedly at peace and moved on. That's projection, plain and simple. Meanwhile, her own music is dealing with streaming issues that conveniently never get addressed. Funny how that works. So here's some free advice nobody asked for, but everybody in these comments agrees with. Less papoose talk. More boxing talk. Baby, your legacy in that ring can last forever. This relationship drama, it is not built to last, and everybody watching already knows it. And here's the truth that applies no matter how this ends. It never works out for the side chick. Not really. Not long term. You're always going to be looking over your shoulder, wondering if he goes back to his wife or if there's somebody else waiting in line behind you. So let's recap, baby. Cardi B gave Remy Ma a real, genuine shout out. Claressa went straight back into crash out mode, got defensive in a stranger's DMs over a joke, overshared explicit details trying to win an argument she didn't need to have, kept repeating it's called divorce with zero paperwork to back it up, got called out by her own family with the pimping theory, got dragged mercilessly in the comments, doubled down on the same explicit pattern from The Breakfast Club, and is still to this day more obsessed with Remy Ma's life than her own career. Team Claressa or Team Leave Remy Alone? Drop your team below, baby. And be honest in those comments. Do you think this is really about loyalty, or is somebody just trying to stay relevant off somebody else's name? Drop it below. I read every single comment and I will respond. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this before you go, baby. I'm Shella. The receipts never lie at Shella Elite. Baby, I will see you in the next one.